Are you ready to unlock your full potential and maximize your productivity? Look no further than Productivity Smarts, the ultimate audio podcast hosted by renowned productivity expert Gerald J. Leonard. In every episode, Gerald shares captivating stories, invaluable tips, and cutting-edge strategies that will transform the way you approach productivity. Whether you're looking to reduce stress, overcome overwhelm, or simply get more done in less time, Productivity Smarts has got you covered. But that's not all. You'll also gain inspiration from real-life success stories of individuals who have achieved greatness through productivity. Plus, you'll learn the latest tools, techniques, and habits that will help you achieve a new level of happiness and fulfillment in your personal and professional life. So why wait? Join us every week as we delve into the exciting world of productivity and help you unleash your full potential. Get ready to take your productivity to the next level with Productivity Smarts. As a productivity expert and host of the Productivity Smarts podcast, Gerald J. Leonard has been a proud supporter of Kiva since 2011. Kiva is a non-profit organization that helps entrepreneurs in third world countries access the capital they need to start or grow their businesses. By making a small loan through Kiva, you can help these entrepreneurs achieve their dreams, support their families, and contribute to their local economies. And with a repayment rate of over 96%, your loan can be relent to another entrepreneur once it's repaid, creating a ripple effect of positive change. So if you're looking for a meaningful way to make a difference in the world, consider making a loan through Kiva. With loans as small as $25, anyone can be a microlender and help change lives. Visit kiva.org to learn more and start lending today.
Well, today I have the pleasure to be speaking with Gayla Bentley, a fashion consultant, designer, entrepreneur, and the author of Fashion's Stepsister, My Journey to Style. From dressing royalty to appearing on Shark Tank, Gayla empowers people to express their best selves through style, unlocking confidence, clarity, and productivity in both personal and their professional lives. Her notable media features are People Magazine, Oprah Magazine, the USA Today, and Houston Chronicle. Gayla, how are you?
Blessed. How are you today?
I am doing well. As you know, I have a great question I always ask my guests because I'm a musician, and that is, what is your favorite style of music?
Rhythm and blues.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Holland Wolf, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Billie Holiday, Etta James Daly, and room full of blues. And if you're not familiar with them, I highly recommend that you look them up. They really launched me into a lot of self-confidence in my childhood.
Yes, I'm familiar with them. Now, let me ask you,
Oh, great.
is there a piece of music near and dear to your heart that really inspires you?
Well, the Room Full of Blues and Etta James are daily.
Okay.
And, and Greg Piccolo is a saxophonist with Room Full of Blues, and he has Juice, Heavy Juice is his CD. So he's let me use his music. And because I grew up dancing, I taught jitterbug, which is really blues jitterbug,
right,
starting in high school, and that really made a difference, dancing to blues. So that's my music. That's my jam.
It
is.
That is excellent.
You want to get in a good mood, you put on your good music, and it changes everything.
It does. And, in one of my books, I wrote about music, and the foundational word, the Greek word for music is muse, is to...
Oh, I love that. I always love muses. I use muses all the time.
Exactly. So when you listen to music, it puts you in the mood to think. And that's why when you think about some of the great music that you listen to, it takes you back to when you first heard it, because it does. It brings all of those memories and everything together. It's so, well censored in the way it impacts our neurology and the way it helps us to think. And so that's really, really cool, especially when you tie it.
And a lot of the words in the music can become something of a mantra that you use for yourself.
Yes.
Like Howling Wolf. Are you a Howling Wolf fan?
No, I'm not. No, go ahead.
Anyway, he's got this song. It says, I'm built like this, I'm built like that, but don't you call me fat, because I'm built for comfort. I ain't built for speed. And I've got everything a good girl needs. And so when I'm feeling like uncomfortable with my body, which I'm not anymore. And I want to share that today a lot for people to stop worrying about that. But listening to that always makes me think like, I've got something that other people don't have. So I'm just going to enjoy this and not make it be a negative, but make it a positive.
Exactly. That's amazing. So let me just ask you, how did you get started in the fashion industry, and what do you feel like has made you successful?
Getting started was when I was 12 years old and finished Catholic school wearing a uniform, and then had to figure out as a chubby tomboy, what clothes am I going to wear to a real school that doesn't have a uniform? And my mother not having a clue of how to dress me, dropping me off at Lane Bryant with a credit card and says, I'll pick you up in a couple hours, because she was too nervous to see what was going to happen. The salespeople were dressing me like my grandmother. And when I was in that dressing room, I heard God say to me, don't worry, Gayla. I'm going to teach you how to dress yourself, and you're going to be an influence on how other people dress for the rest of your life, so no one will ever feel like you feel today. From that moment on, I started my journey to style.
So that was your shift. That was your moment.
My shift, my tipping point. But then you have to figure it out, since nobody around you knows how to do it. So then it's like, all right, God, well, now how am I going to go about this?
Right.
And so through high school, I would say, I still hadn't figured it out yet. But when I got to college, my roommate was a ballerina, and she typified the opposite, the dichotomy of who I was. I showed up in jeans, a polo shirt, and an afro. Everybody cut my hair round because it was naturally curly.
Right.
And I always wore sneakers. And I was best friends to all the most important, to the captains of the football team, et cetera. But no one ever thought to ask me on a date, but they tell me everything. And when I met Nina, I could see how she was so beautiful, and she had so many escorts and boyfriends, et cetera. And so she said, why don't I work with you on this? Because I told her what had happened. Right. And sure enough, she taught me about hair, makeup, and we started with the clothes, and my whole life pivoted from that point on. Nina was my mentor, and her sisters and her mother, I lived with them that summer. They owned a diamond factory. So of course I had to learn about everything about style, and that really changed everything. And when I went back to college the following year, I started my own business. That was my first entrepreneurial experience. I started Gayla Affairs because I needed more money to pay for my college education. And Gayla Affairs was built to educate and help people shop, like professors and the medical team at our school and wealthy students that needed help. And sure enough, I made money to pay my bills. So that was my first experience, and everything blossomed once I could present myself as beautiful as I could be for myself and feel good about myself. My confidence level just went through the roof.
Well, it's interesting when you find yourself in a state where you're getting dressed or you're trying out clothes, and you hear this voice or this message that comes through to you that says, hey, you're going to become a pillar in this industry in helping other people.
Yes.
But you don't have the roadmap yet, right? But then you discover your mentor, your tour guide, someone who's been there, done that many times, and now they're taking you and showing you. And I always say mentoring and coaching is the HOV lane. If you ever live in
that is the honest truth. That's why I say go to the people that have the wisdom, and you will be in that HOV lane. You're not going to reinvent the wheel. You have a question, find out who already answered it, and get in touch with them. Read their book, read whatever you have to do. They'll give you the information. You don't have to stress out about it.
Right. You find the right person who's been there many times.
Right.
They will show you how to get there. And then once you get comfortable getting there yourself, following their process, then you add your piece to it, which I'm sure you did.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
How to dress and what to do and so on and so forth. Then you took it and said, okay, now this is how I'm going to do it for myself. But now
that's personal style. You just define what personal style is. You can't dress the way other people want to see you. And just because someone suggests something doesn't mean it's for you. Once you put it on, you'll know.
Right.
If it's for you or not. And like they taught me everything they taught me, but if I didn't feel good in it, I had to, switch it up, move it around, buy something different. But a good foundation is key. That's why I wrote the book.
Yeah.
So people would have a good foundation. My book is Fashion Stepsister, A Journey to Style.
Yes.
And in it is the formula. You have a formula now that you cannot go wrong to learn how to enhance your beauty to its fullest potential. I wrote it because I never read a fashion book because I couldn't understand it. They were writing for people that were 5, 10, or 11, tall, long legs that were traveling the cocktail circuit, or, all the highlights of everything.
Right.
Well, that's not what most people are doing. Someone needed to write a book that made sense to the woman that lived an everyday life and her lifestyle. And that's why I wrote the book.
Exactly. And it's a wonderful book because, you go through all of those examples. And I know in the back you had like just different sections on hats and different things to wear and places to go and just the way to think about it. And
A lifestyle chart. So they have something to wear for everything within their lifestyle.
exactly.
And when they open their closet, if they take my advice on how to get it together and actually do it, they'll have something for everything in their lifestyle, and they'll never feel like they have to worry. And it saves money. It saves time.
Yep.
It boosts your confidence. You're often the best dressed person in the room. Why not?
Exactly. It's funny because when you and I talked earlier, we were talking about Jack Canfield and Steve Harrison and the National Summit, and we kind of both have been in that circle. I had the pleasure of working with Steve Harrison, his team, and I worked with, I don't remember her name now, but she was an image consultant. And
She's wonderful.
she looked at me and she said, okay, based on your skin color and so on, these are the colors that work for you. But because you're also a musician and a business person, you are just a regular business suit. You have to have that flair or something that makes you stand out, where people see that, okay, you're a business, but you have this artsy part of you or this artistic.
I love that.
And
yes, she was right.
She gave me a color palette and I saved it. She printed it out and sent it to me as a framed, which was beautiful. But then I also had a copy that I saved in my phone, right? So anytime I would go shopping, I knew exactly what color shirts.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I knew the suits to buy. I knew how to put things together that would work for me. And so now I just dress the way I dress, because I actually spent time with the image consultant. She helped me. And so if I'm on stage, if I'm going to church, if I'm going to a business meeting, I'm actually dressing the same way because she really helped me. And now I've kind of made it my own, but it makes life so much.
Your own personal style, but it's helping you so tremendously by your enthusiasm. I can tell that.
Yes.
And that's what I want other people to have. But this chart in my book, for your lifestyle, I think it's so cool that you understand the difference of what you're wearing today to do the show, and then how you can pivot to wear something totally different. Same look, but different colors, maybe put on a cap or a hat for when you play. What do you play? What music?
I'm a bass player.
You're a bass player. Well, you got to have that, just that rhythm and blues in you.
It's that laid back,
Yeah.
I'm not up front. I'm just kind of hanging out, playing in the background. Yeah. And I'm loving what I get to do, and I get to support everybody. And I
love it.
Fun.
I love it.
So that's my personality, is about and serving and helping. And then every once in a while, you get out front, you do a solo, and then you come back.
Right.
You're there to make the song gel and make it work.
Yes.
And keep it.
And see, you're never worrying when you go to perform, what do you have to wear? Because you already have figured it out. And that's today what we're trying to help the listeners. Well, not to ever fret of what they're going to wear when they have to go to a wedding or a barbecue or to church, like you said, or a soccer game. They're going to have it all handled once they go through the book and do what they're supposed to do and read the answers.
So let me ask you this question. In your book, Fashion Stepsisters, you discuss the power of personal style, which we just talked about. How do you see style influencing a person's individual productivity?
Oh, it's tremendous. I mean, matter of fact, I just talked to Fortune 500 companies, their HR people, because they're having a big problem with the people that work for them interpreting casual, because now everything's casual in the workplace. Right. But some people can interpret that as wearing the same T-shirt they wear at the grocery store. So, I had to make up a list for them to teach and have seminars with their employees. And it's very important that people realize what the difference is. So I've been, working a lot on helping people with their personal style so that they have what is known as uniforms, pretty much. What is your uniform when you go to a wedding? What's your uniform when you go to work? And if you look confident at work and polished at work and well-groomed at work, you're one of the first people they're going to look at for promotion. Yeah. And in doing all that, it gives you more confidence, and they see that, and they're like, here's John and here's Joe. John always looks like he just had a wild night the night before, but Joe's are always pulled together.
Right.
Well, Joe would be the first person, or Josephine, that they would think about in promoting them. So it's essential for work.
Yeah. And it actually makes a big difference and saves a lot of time, because my next question,
That's a big thing.
what does your morning routine and wardrobe selection play in setting the tone for your productive day?
Well, if everything in your wardrobe fits you, you love it, and it's already been organized for that particular lifestyle thing, you can select your clothes, throw them on the bed while you take a shower, get out of the shower, put your clothes on and go. And you look in the mirror and say, man, do I look fabulous? Or, wow, I look so cool today. And you take time, you save frustration. You're not in a bad mood. You're in a good mood because you look good. You're always in a good mood when you look great. I mean, it's the best thing you could possibly do, and you save money because you're not running around buying all these clothes at the last minute. This is a planned experience that you just have to do twice a year, and then you have the right clothes that make you feel over 100% for everything that you do, and it enhances your life unbelievably.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, when it comes to enhancing your life, because after working with a consultant, my background's in project management and organization, and so I can organize chaos in my sleep, right? That's why I chose that field, because once I figured that out, I never worked a day in my life when it came to project management, because it became something that I just was naturally good at, and I did just in my sleep. So in my closet, and I help my wife with this, is my closet is organized where you have ties, belts, suits.
That's a good method. Yep.
You have long sleeve shirts. You have your polo shirts. You have a shoe rack, and then you have some things here. And you all my hats and baseball caps are on the door in a little.
Good.
And so what happens is, if I have a 2-3 day trip, my wife's like, "When are you going to pack?" I'm like, I got this. I'll be done packing in a really short period of time. And I grab a couple of jackets. I grab a couple of set of slacks. I will grab a couple of shirts and so on and so forth. And boom, I'm done. If it's going to an event, I walk in, I kind of go around the room, and I know exactly where to go. And it's amazing how much time that saves.
Yes, and this is a big focus of my book, Fashion Stepsister. The next step, or the first step, is that everything in your closet fits you.
Yes.
And you have everything in your closet you need to go do the things that you're talking about. And that's the hardest thing. As you know, if you're an organized, chaos organized expert, like I'm a style expert, the hardest thing your clients struggle with is putting the time aside for themselves to get organized. And in my book, that's why I teach so much about how to get organized, because you can't accomplish style to its fullest potential for yourself until you organize your drawers and your closet.
Yes.
It's not the most fun thing to do, but it has to be done.
Right. But once you do it,
then you're home free. Like you just said, you can pack in an hour max.
Yes.
Yeah, because everything's there. You know, you've already organized. It was for business to pack. Then after, if you want to go from business to, out for dinner or on a date, you already have it handled. You already have it packed. We've already scheduled an organization.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you this, because you also consult for Fortune 500 leaders. What's one style-related tip you've given executives that directly boosted their professional presence and productivity?
Well, it comes down to how they present themselves. I mean, honestly, you never have a second chance to make a first impression.
Right.
So if you're the CEO of the company or the mailroom person, you only have one chance to make a first impression when you show up. Right. So it all comes down to grooming and putting on. You have taken the time to have chosen the suit that looks great on you, French cuffs with cufflinks if you're the CEO, start shirts if you're in the mailroom. You'll get promoted faster. You'll be looked at with higher respect because people, by the way you appear, is how they judge you. It all comes down to that.
Yes. When you help people discover their style, how do you help them where they don't feel overwhelmed, especially nowadays where people, with everything that's going on in the economy and so on, budgets can be tight.
See, that's not a problem. It talks about it in my book, Fashion Stepsister, A Journey to Style.
Yeah.
It's not about how much you spend. It's what you choose. And thankfully, to this day, thrift stores are huge. I was doing an interview the other day about college boys graduating and, how should they dress for an interview. It's the same thing I would tell someone in a Fortune 500 company how to dress when they want a promotion. If you don't have the money, you go to a thrift store And like their basic shirts, Oxford button-down shirts are still to this day a very power dressing.
Yep.
And a pinstripe blue one, a solid blue one is fantastic. Then you need a pair of trousers, gray or navy blue or khaki. You need one sports jacket, a belt, and a pair of shoes that you wear polished, and socks that match. If you're a woman, you look for the right suit. Ann Taylor, I always suggest to people. Or if you're a woman with curves, there are several stores that I list in my book that they can go to.
Okay.
Everybody should have a suit. For casual Friday, they should have a look that's consistent with wearing a suit.
Right.
Consistency is key. You can't go to work one day looking like GQ and the next day looking like a pool boy. You know, you have to be consistent in what you wear to get ahead. But it's so easy now because of threads, resale shops, thrift stores. These are all the places you can go.
Right.
Have a swap party with your girlfriends and sell the clothes to them that you don't like, and they sell the clothes to you they don't like, and you'll pick up some cheap things that way. I mean, I write it all, I've written all about it in the book. Because, you know, I didn't have a lot of money. When I first started working, I was a woman with curves. So I looked at all the women on the bus. I was taking a bus also because I didn't have enough money for a car. And I looked at all the women with curves, and I looked at the ones that were dressing attractively. So I would wait until they got to know me a little better. And then I'd approach them and say, I really love your style. Where are you shopping?
Right.
They would tell me, and then that's where I'd go shop. And that's where I came up with my outfit. And that's how I went up the corporate ladder, because I always looked good. I had no money to spend, but they didn't have a lot of money to spend. But we learned where to shop inexpensively, how to pull it together, and wear my hair a certain way, wear lipstick. And I want people to have the experience regardless. It's not about size. It's about style. It's not about how much you make. It's not about where you live. It's not about how tall you are. It's about looking your best self. And that's what we're talking about here today. How to enhance your beauty to its fullest potential without worrying about how much it's going to cost.
That's excellent. Can you share about a time when you helped a client who experienced a major breakthrough in their confidence and efficacy after working with you through some of these challenges of just kind of...
It's almost every client that I work with, number one. But I had a fun experience. I worked in Paris for 10 years. I did trips in Paris called co-tours. And I took women shopping in Paris, and I never spoke French, by the way, but it was a week-long experience to help the American women learn about French style, not just with clothing, but with entertaining and et cetera. And I went to the Buddha Bar, which was so cool. It just opened in Paris, and it was just had the coolest music, and everybody looked so, hip and fabulous. And I was sitting there with the guest that I had for dinner. It's in my book. And there was a couple sitting next to me, and I could tell they were on their first date because she was talking and she was very nervous. She kept her head down like this while he was talking. And so finally she got up to go to the ladies' room. So I followed the ladies' room, and I had to pray, God, I'm going to go to this girl, and I'm going to help her look better tonight. But I don't want her to think I'm hitting on her, or being a weirdo. But God helped me through it. And I had enough French to tell her why I was doing it. She had a button-down blouse on. She'd just come from work, so I unbuttoned the top 3 buttons of her blouse, untucked her shirt, tied it in a knot around her waist to make a bow, rolled up her skirt so it was a little shorter, took out my red lipstick, had her put that on, take some of the red lipstick, put it on her cheeks so she had some gloss and glow there, took her long hair, put it up in a French twist with a pencil that I had in my purse, and then I sent her back out there. Well, she walked out there with her head high, and she had a little, fun step to her step. She sat down there. She did. And then she just started talking to him like they've known each other forever. Then his whole mood changed, and he was talking to her like la, la, la. When they left holding hands.
Yeah, so
that's
what happened to you.
Yeah, and I didn't even speak the same language. So you can do it, once you read these tips, because I love dating clothes and helping people find the right dating clothes.
Right.
So they're not all buttoned up, but they're approachable. And I call it tabletop dressing. Like right now, I have an off-the-shoulder top on because it's attractive, I think, to talk with you.
Right.
And I'm approachable because I'm not all buttoned up to here. So my dating clothing ideas, help people get to the next date.
No, this is great. So for listeners working remotely, what are your top tips for maintaining style standards while balancing comfort and focus? Because, sometimes folks can get on Zoom and they may be business up top and then party down below.
Right. That's good putting it. I am today.
They don't hide the screen or they forget that they didn't.
Well, that's a tip right there. You just gave them a tip off the bat, but once you read these tips in here, I can't help to say it, Fashion Stepsister, Journey in Style, all that will be over with. I mean, no matter what you're doing, even if you're going from the grocery store to the dry cleaner to a black tie event, once you've got your closet organized and you have the clothes in there, you're not going to go wrong. What do I wear on Zoom meeting?
Right.
That will already be answered. The point is you've got to get your wardrobe organized. You have to have the underwear that fits you vertically. You've got to have your makeup already sorted out. I talk about that, the right eyewear. And there's certain things you invest in to look your best, whether it's on a Zoom meeting or in-person interview or on a date or to a black tie event.
Right.
But if you take the time to organize yourself, then you never, ever have to worry about that. You got to invest in yourself.
Yes.
That's what you have to. And the most important thing is everything that you invest in should be comfortable. Comfort and fashion, functionality is all part of the deal.
Yeah.
Because you should never buy anything that you're uncomfortable with and doesn't fit you today. And you don't buy stuff to say, when I lose 10 pounds, it's going to fit me great. Forget about that. Buy it later or after you've lost the 10 pounds.
Right.
When people tell me I'm going to lose weight on the way down and they're not going to change their wardrobe until then, it makes me so sad for them. Because if they appear with an outfit on that's too small anywhere on their body, as soon as someone sees you, that's what they think. This is a chubby person, and they're seeing you, what you're wearing and not what you're saying and what you're there to discuss.
Right.
And that's another reason to have your personal style and your wardrobe pulled together so they're listening to what you say and to get your point across. I've been talking with trial attorneys and how they need to dress,
right.
How the witnesses need to dress. It all comes down to getting your wardrobe organized and going over these checkpoints. Do you have something to wear to trial? If you don't, you start anything you don't have for a lifestyle that you need, you write it on a shopping list. Like you were saying earlier, keep that shopping list on your phone or on a piece of paper. So when you have the need to shop, whether it's retail therapy or because you're going somewhere,
right,
or just want to shop, you're going to buy something off the list to complete an outfit.
Right. And there's so many options today from the outlet malls of companies that have like brand name, but they're selling last year's inventory. They have the rack.
We can tell our audience all the places to shop, but before they do any of that, they've got to get their closet organized. They've got to get their wardrobe organized. I mean, so many women are wearing the wrong underwear. It's more evident on women than on men because bodycon dressing is very popular where the clothes fit really tightly to the body. And if you don't have the right underwear on, you're looking 10 or 20 pounds heavier. It's an eyesore for whoever's looking at you. And if you wear the wrong brassiere and your cup runneth over, unattractive. You're not dressing like you're going on a date to work. Men should not wear no socks to work. There are all these things I'm telling people not to do because that's not the right place to wear them.
Right.
But we got to get people organized on what they're wearing. And I have all the ways to do it, so you don't even have to figure out how to do it.
Right.
To follow the steps. Get a friend to do it with you, and then you do it for the friend, and you'll both be organized. Or hire someone, a professional, like you did. You had the professional from Steve Harrison's office
image consultant
help you with your color chart and all that stuff. The professionals, interview professionals, see which one you think clicks with you, and hire them. Read the book so then you know the questions to ask.
Yeah, that made such a difference because in the past, I hadn't really thought about it that much. I just kind of put on things that I felt like were nice and that people complimented me on, but I didn't really consider finding shirts and clothes and things that really made me stand out, but yet were very professional, but yet also express.
Well, for your lifestyle, you figured out all the clothes that you needed for the lifestyle you were in, wherever you went. And you knew you were one of the best dressed people in the room, and that's what we want our audience.
Exactly.
Have that same experience that you've had that I have now.
Exactly.
And I went from someone that had the best personality for all the boys to now being happily married. But before that, I had him chasing me because I looked so good. And, I had to make a selection of which man I wanted to marry. And, for the men, there's a lot of dating sites now and swiping and this and that. If you're going to put a picture on there, put a realistic picture, but you can look fabulous if you take the time to find the right clothes to wear. It attracts people. Looking good is just a good attraction.
If somebody wanted to learn more about you and figure out how to get in touch with you and where to buy your book, where should they go?
Well, Amazon.com has my book, 1495, The Fabulous Fashion Stepsister, A Journey to Style. It's my memoir.
Okay.
And you'll see all the triumphs and tragedies that I've been through to get to this point, to have this confidence. I broke my neck, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me. You'll read about that. I also have a great website, GaylaBentley.com, and you can read about me there. But we should read the book because the book has so many answers to questions you might have asked yourself. If someone in your life never taught you how to dress, don't feel bad. That's probably 90% of the population.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
And someone needs to teach you. And I finally wrote a book to help the layperson learn and not talk over their heads or sending them in a direction where they're wearing cocktail clothes every day.
Right.
This is a realistic book. But my journey, my memoir, is entertaining. I've been told. I have 5 stars on Amazon and several reviews, because I take you through the world with me where I traveled and what I learned from all the people I dressed over the years. I was a fashion director at Saks Fifth Avenue. I had the biggest entrepreneurial thing I ever did was started my own fashion design business. And, my clothes were sold in Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom's, et cetera. And then I was, went on Shark Tank, and then you can read what happened on Shark Tank with the 2 sharks that bought my business. Yeah, everything has a story, and everything has the ending, and then you can then do the new beginnings. There's always a new beginning.
Right.
And I'm in a new beginning now, and I'm doing these podcasts with wonderful people like you. But I need social media numbers. I mean, right now there's people in LA that want to do a movie about my book, which that's why I'm excited. Tony Robbins is the one that brought me to my book. Popular. Tony Robbins is phenomenal. He's the one. After 4 days with him, I knew I had to write the book to get my social media numbers up.
Yeah.
And that's what changed my life right there.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we'll definitely put you out there on the podcast. We'll definitely
I appreciate that.
Media. And I have a pretty decent following. I've also done some things with Tony and Les Brown. And
great. And Steve Harrison, he's the best.
Bill, and I'll promote it on our platform, and I'll share it with the ladies in my life, my wife, and she can share with her.
I'd appreciate it.
Because
and if it's got a book club, I can do a Zoom meeting with them.
Right. It's some great insights. And I totally agree with you that it's almost like having a baseline.
That's what you need. Everything needs a good foundation. You got to have a good foundation to build the house. We have a good foundation in this book for you to create the wardrobe you need that you never have to keep doing day after day. Just do it twice a year because of the climate change.
Exactly.
But I believe you can do it. I know you can do it. You can send me emails, be happy to answer them.
Well, I will put all of that in the show notes. And it's so great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you for the opportunity.
For sharing your wisdom, your insight, and for writing such a timely and very practical and very
inspiring and fun book. That's what I wanted to do.
With your story and taking us on your journey and helping us.
Well, thank you for allowing that. I appreciate it
very much. Listen, it's great talking with you. And again, we're going to share this all with our audience. And it's been
I
great.
Appreciate that. Let's all be successful together.
There you go. If you're enjoying the content and finding it valuable, we would appreciate it if you could take a moment and leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us and helps us reach a wider audience. If you leave us a 5-star review, it would mean the world to us. Not only does it help us improve the podcast, but it also helps us attract more sponsors and grow our community. Thank you again for your support and for listening to the Productivity Smarts podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to Productivity Smarts, where we help you achieve your goals and live your best life. We hope you've gained valuable insights and actionable strategies to boost your productivity and increase your happiness and fulfillment. Remember to apply what you've learned and keep striving towards your goals. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more inspiring episodes and expert advice from our host, Gerald J. Leonard. Until next time, keep pushing forward and unleashing your productivity smarts.